Good evening, everyone. Oh, there
What's
we
up?
go. Respect. Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? I'm Chris. I'm joined with JXEditor, and we're here to talk more Andor. You very kindly joined me last week for episode 5. We are here today, unsurprisingly. Oh, and Floyd. Floyd's there. He is the Chewbacca of this channel right now. He is the mascot.
All right, clickbait's over. You can go now.
Clickbait, yeah. I don't think we can use the same clickbait, can we? I think we need to think of a new clickbait each week. So I'm open to suggestions right now. Anyway, we're here to talk about episode 6 of Andor, which is called The Eye. Now, this was really confusing to me because maybe you have been following this on my channel, maybe you haven't, but there was a certain episode of The Rings of Power that was also called The Eye fairly recently. So I was very confused and just for like a split second had Vietnam flashbacks that I might be having to watch an episode of The Rings of Power again. Thankfully, that wasn't the case because this is actually a really good show and there's a really, really good episode. So, yeah, we're here to talk about it. I don't know how long this review is going to go on for, but I'm sure we will figure it out. Before we do, though, please do consider subscribing to the channel for more reviews, discussions, and live streams. The amount of content I'm putting out at the moment is kind of ridiculous. It's definitely ramped up, that's for sure. But the Rings of Power will be finishing this week. Bond's just wrapped this week as well. But Andor's here to stay for a good few more months, I think. We've got 12 episodes in this series, so we're it's like a month and a half.
Six?
Yeah, it doesn't take like a mid-season break or anything, does it? Like that?
Not that they haven't done it yet with a single Star Wars show.
Well, we're going to be
Marvel
here for a while anyway. There's hopefully going to be plenty to talk about with it. I'm getting into some new retrospectives as well at the end of the week. Give me a follow on Twitter as well. You can find me at Hobbit Fan Editor. There you can find all the times that I go live, including very impromptu live links like today. I think I posted this like a half hour ago. So hopefully we get some people in the chat. But if not, it's A-okay because I'm sure we're going to have some stuff to talk about.
Wait, is that why you actually asked me to post it this week?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, I thought you posted it anyway last week. Maybe you didn't.
I posted it during the stream. I thought to post it during the stream.
Oh, did you actually? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fair enough. But yeah, I'm just passing over to you if you want to tell people where they can find your channel and what you've got going on at the moment.
Hi, youtube.com/JXEditor. Still, yeah, it's right there. It's right. It's. Chris, keep it going.
Ah, no, I fucked it up. No, shit. Hang on. There. Okay. It's the moment's over now.
That was awful.
Next week.
We'll have that like synchronized.
We'll have it down.
I fucked it up. But yeah, I'm still, making fan edits and posting clips pseudo regularly,
including a lot of Star Wars stuff. So if you are a Star Wars fan, chances are you've probably already found JXEditor's channel way before mine. If it's the other way around, then that's just bizarre. I have no idea how that checks out. But yeah, there's a lot of cool Star Wars content on there. Hopefully, when we both get some free time at some point, we can get back to editing. We'll be posting our own cool edited Star Wars content. We've got some ideas. We've got some projects in the works. So yeah, just watch this space. At the moment, it's almost become a meme. We just keep saying things that we're going to be adding to this future edit, but we'll get to it at some point. We will.
Are we just going to like go through all our chats and be like, what did we say we were going to do for this?
We're going to have to do another live stream. Remember what we did on your channel that time where we just kind of talked about all of our ideas for stuff? That was probably like 4 years ago now. Yeah.
That has like 2,000 views.
Oh, does it? Oh, yeah. Shit. Maybe there's an audience for it there. Maybe we should get back to that. It's a lot more views that I'm currently getting, so maybe I should do that.
Yeah, but this was like also during I think this was during like the hype for like Skywalker.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to refer to hype for things for my own channel and without being a jackass?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Own
I was hyped.
Yeah.
Go watch Skywalker. It's Godfather 2 in Star Wars. It is.
It is. Yeah, no, there's parallels going on in there. I reviewed that thing with you, didn't I?
We did a watch along.
That was it. Yeah.
You reviewed Kenobi, which is the first one in that thing.
I did. You need to finish that trilogy.
Yeah, that's why I said thing.
Right, let's get to the episode in question then, The Eye. So,
Yes.
as I've said before, the release order of these episodes is really frustrating because this is our third act of our 3-episode arc. It keeps us talking about it for longer, I guess, and gives everyone time to catch up, which is quite unheard of for TV shows now. Usually they just kind of dump them all out there. Nonetheless, I still do wish that they release them in 3-episode chunks each time, because I think that just is the most cohesive viewing experience. I'm constantly having to remind myself of how the previous episode ended, which I know you get the previously on, but even still, I think if you had like a 3-episode arc, it'd be much better to just bomb through it, and you've kind of got like a little mini movie going on.
More
so this week,
this way.
yeah. So this week concludes the second 3-episode arc, I guess. Next week has its own director and its own writer. So I don't know if next week's just going to be a standalone episode and then we're going to have another 3-episode arc after that one. But handing over to you first, what did you think to this episode? Is just kind of like a rough overall thoughts, and then we'll dive into it a bit more.
I thought this was a good episode. It wasn't until after the episode, and let me rephrase it. It wasn't until about 20 seconds ago that I realized that the guy eating cereal last episode wasn't in this.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. Yeah.
I hope that's not just over, and we're like the last thing we see of him isn't him just staring at a piece of cereal, thinking about how fucking bleak his future is. That's just. I mean, that's a little hardcore, actually.
No, I think that's going to be how the next episode opens. You know, it's going to be in space,
staring at cereal?
pan down from space, and then this planet, like the surface of a planet, and then we pan down some more, and it's actually just one of those bits of cereal, just magnified ridiculously. And we're going to zoom out, and he's going to be eating a bowl of cereal.
You know that you're referencing Rian Johnson, right?
Yeah, no, I am. I totally am. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. No, that's not going to be the last that we see of that character, not by a long shot. Like, we're definitely going to come back to that character. Sometimes the pacing and scenes they choose to include in an episode is very strange. For example, we get that Senate scene, I guess, that we saw from the trailer that we were both clamoring over for footage. And once again, I don't think we can use anything from it. But that's like the one Mon Mothma scene that you get in there, and it's like a quick, almost 30-second scene, and that's it. And I'm watching the episode thinking, well, that's not really relevant to today's episode. Like, you could have taken more time there. Maybe they just wanted to keep us reminded that Mon Mothma's a thing and Mon Mothma's out there doing things while all this stuff's going on. But nonetheless, it just felt a little bit random. But the series is doing that at some points. Yeah. Maybe some of the close-ups of the reactions
in episode 4.
Yeah.
Or scene with.
Yeah, it could
Palpatine
be
dissolving the Senate, okay?
But yeah,
about
I guess just some pacing stuff with the episodes. But it's not exclusive to this episode. They kind of do that all the way through it. They'll just throw like a random scene in there. It was, speaking of the same character that you mentioned, who went back to his mom. Was it like 2 episodes ago? His only scene is him going back to Coruscant and his mom letting him in the house. And that was it. That was like the scene of that character in that episode. And you think, well, why not just park that character to another episode when we actually spend more time with him? I don't know if you've had that with it as well.
That didn't even occur to me, but that's actually a really good idea.
Mm. Yeah, it's just because predominantly for this we're with the main crew, you know, Cassian and the rebels pulling this heist. It's kind of bookended at the very end where Stellan Skarsgård receives the news that everything's gone well and the mission was a success. And then randomly you have a Mon Mothma scene in there as well that has no relevance to anything that's going on within that episode. So I don't know. I could have lost that and just moved it to next episode if Mon Mothma's got more to do with it. Mm-hmm. But the episode itself, I loved it, certainly from a visual standpoint. By God, this looks incredible compared to the likes of Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett, doesn't it? You can tell that they just like went, right, all the money is going to go on Cassian, and then the chump change that we have afterwards is going to go on the budget of Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett, which I don't quite understand why, because if you think you're doing a show on Kenobi I mean, if I was presented with these 3 projects, Book of Boba Fett, Cassian, and Kenobi, and I was, God forbid, in charge of the budget for these things, I would just take all of the cash, maybe apart from a dollar bill or something, and just put it straight on Kenobi. And then everything, I'd be like Cassian, whatever. But this looks outstanding. Certainly like the background of this. And I know why it does. And we were talking about this before we hit live. It's blue and orange. Disney like that color combination. It's a tried.
Everybody likes that color. Me in the face.
Have you been drinking again?
How did the stream start again?
No, it's blue and orange. It's visually pleasing to the eye.
Yeah,
and Disney know this shit, and that's why they use it on everything. That's why every single movie poster that is released nowadays is blue and orange.
I'm sorry if you didn't know that already, and you're going to notice it now, and it sucks.
X-Men Dark Phoenix, Disney's Aladdin, Force Awakens.
Look at him go.
Other things that I liked about this, that beautiful moral grey stuff that we're getting from this series so far.
Can I talk about the last scene? One of the last scenes.
Yeah, we'll work backwards. We'll work like Memento in this.
Oh,
we'll,
okay.
Go back to the start.
All right. So looking back at it, I have this note, and I don't entirely agree with it now, but it felt a little profound at the time.
Mm-hmm.
The last scene with Skeen, the scene between him and Andor and Cassian, that ends with Cassian, shooting him. That feels like if Han and DJ were on the same job.
Maybe.
I've taught you well. You can't use my favorite meme against me. It's still my favorite meme.
Yeah, I used your thing against you. Taste your own medicine.
That's
a good point. So, I mean, I was just reminded of the end scene of Solo. But I think this was handled much better than that, to be honest. And there's kind of a lot of moments like that where there's lots of elements that remind me of other Star Wars things, but this series is just doing it a lot better. The heist, like the main mission they're on, this is what I kind of wish we would have got in Rogue One. And as I mentioned, I don't hate Rogue One. I think it's very watchable. But everything's just kind of convenient and everything's just kind of easy, and it doesn't really function like a heist. This one does. And it's kind of making me... I would love to see Rogue One remade in the style of this show. Tonally, the maturity of it, and just to see how that would go down. And maybe that was the original version of the film, and we kind of, hypothesized this last week with Gareth Edwards. But maybe it did have a more mature, more grounded, warlike film quality to it. And Disney probably thought...
about it not being so much of a heist is that you can't really have this classic heist with the war on at the happening outside of the building that they're heisting. Yeah.
It seems like it was kind of a combination of maybe the ending of Return of the Jedi, the whole bunker thing with the door and the battle going on outside as they're trying to do something inside. But anyway, just comparing it to Rogue One, I think this heist is just handled much better. I think it's more tension-filled, and the moral grey stuff. A rebel holds a gun to a child's head in this episode. Yeah. And I'm just watching it thinking, this doesn't feel like Star Wars, but kind of in a good way. I haven't seen this from Star Wars before, and it's presenting me with something that's actually thought-provoking and adult and mature in its content and its writing, and I'm just really appreciating it because we haven't seen this from Disney Star Wars since they acquired the rights. We haven't seen anything close to this and how adult this show is, and that could rub some people up the wrong way. We kind of mentioned this last week as well, how if you go too far in that direction, maybe it can feel completely divorced away from Star Wars and its kind of its visual signifiers and what we come to expect from Star Wars.
I don't believe that. I feel like Star Wars can literally be a story about anything.
Yeah.
It just also happens to be in this universe.
I agree. But it's because it feels so distinctly different and feels a lot more adult, and I don't want to say grounded, because of course it's still Star Wars. You've still got things like TIE fighters and everything and blasters, but
you're trying to say
I don't know. It genuinely feels like it's telling the seeds of a rebellion very well and very believably from these, it would start from small skirmishes like this and this, constant bickering and trying to sabotage the opposing force in whatever way they can. And I really like that. We have a defecting stormtrooper in this as well. We get I forgot the name of the character, but she mentions
doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. But one of the people on their crew was an ex-stormtrooper and defected, and I'm like, this is handled much better than Finn was, essentially, because
I feel like that just wasn't handled.
Yeah, I mean,
Not Finn. I'm talking about the one in the guy in this show that just don't. They're like, he was a stormtrooper, and then you're just kind of okay. That's why he can act like a soldier.
I guess so, but just looking at Finn, you think like, oh, actually, that's a really cool idea for a character, a stormtrooper who defects, who's been born into this conflict and raised as a soldier. Yet the first conflict he's in, he just completely flakes, which makes no sense. And then, but by him being a character in the film, by him existing, it raises the question that there's actually real people behind those, very tragic child soldiers, essentially, that have been raised in this. Which is then immediately undone, where he's just pot-shotting them in a TIE fighter and laughing about it, like, did you see that? Did you see that? And, going crazy that he's killing his brothers in arms, which was 5 minutes ago the entire origin point of why he defected in the first place. I just think that a simple mention of this, that he was once a stormtrooper, and she says, like, I forgot the name of the person that she mentions, but she says, oh, you guess how this person reacted when she found out that, or something. So I like that everyone's coming into this rebellion for different reasons. And we don't need to know the reason. But even then, there was like an offhanded sentence mentioned saying that stormtroopers murdered one of the other people's entire family. So the fact that they have a defected stormtrooper in the group, I don't know. It's just all of this texture to the characters. And don't get me wrong, these characters aren't very incredibly complex, written on the page. They're very surface level, but I like the nuggets of information that we get about them nonetheless, and it implies this greater lore, this greater backstory that we haven't seen. So it
sounds like there's a much more interesting movie about these characters that just happened.
Don't give Disney any more ideas, dude.
No. I'm not saying they're gonna do it. I don't dislike this. But the implied history that you're talking, it just kind of reminds me of the end of. I'm not going to say what movie it was. It was a bad movie, and essentially the twist was while this movie was happening, a totally different, probably much better movie was happening at the same time.
Yeah.
It was Ocean's 8. Anyway.
And yeah, so I still think this show has a character problem, and maybe this is just me in my aging years, just being very forgetful, forgetting characters' names, but I couldn't really name you any of the group's names.
No, totally.
So that's a fault of. I mean, we're 6 episodes in right now, and I can't tell you any of the extended characters' names outside of Cassian, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what do you mean outside of Cassian? Maybe are you forgetting Cassian?
Well, okay, so there's Cassian, there's Mon Mothma, and I'm trying to think if there's any other characters that I know, and especially new characters, probably not. I probably couldn't name you any.
Junon? New John?
Ugu Mugufu?
Panda Babo. Oh, but yeah, this whole implied history that you're referring to, I feel like it's all kind of a problem that Rogue One has. And I kind of see why it works in a TV show and doesn't work in a movie, because a movie is supposed to be this one contained thing, whereas a TV show is supposed to be part of this larger narrative. Everything is implying something was already happening.
Yeah. But everyone still feels very green. Like, we don't really know how long they've been in this fight. A lot of them still feel like
since they were 6 years old.
6 years old. They kind of forgot about that. They've just really abandoned that storyline, haven't they?
Yeah. What the hell is with that?
And I kind of want to say that's comparable to Book of Boba Fett as well. How they just start telling this story in flashbacks, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, fuck that noise, and then we're back to normal after that, aren't we? Well, then it becomes Mandalorian shortly after that. Let's see what else I have on here. Yeah, just like the whole kid at gunpoint. I like when we see both sides of this war, because before this point, and it's functional for the story, so I'm not against this. This is a very postmodern way of looking at things now. When you watch the original Star Wars, the Empire serves its purpose as this sort of like faceless organization. They're the bad guys, unquestionably bad. They're the ones that we need to run and gun, essentially, and we're rooting for the good guys. That's it. And it's serviceable, and that works for the story that it's telling. We just needed this tyrannical empire that's taken over the galaxy, and that's who we're facing. And then the sequel trilogy tried to do exactly the same thing by literally resurrecting the Empire, which felt a bit, tired by that point. But I like that this is actually showing both sides to it. They're just people doing a job. At the very end, where Qyburn from Game of Thrones, again, I don't know his name in this. He goes, right, call your families, call your staff. None of you are going home tonight. I want you to go through all of these documents, and I want you to all prepare a speech, prepare your meetings, and we'll adjourn at midnight. Off you go. I like that. It's very corporate. We're getting to see this side of things. They're just people doing a day job. Clearly they believe in the cause, and clearly they're not even privy to, well, I'm pretty sure they're not privy to everything that's going on with the Empire. And yeah, even the people during the heist and everything who they're shooting down, you get the impression that they're just, I mean, yeah, you do get the very fat and the very indulgent generals and everything in this, who needed the breastplate stretcher because he was getting too fat for his outfit. But I like that. It's kind of the excess and the greed of the Empire, and we get to see loads of different sides of this organization. But I still felt bad when, like, this Imperial officer is probably an absolute douche canoe, and is just kind of, well, I mean, he quite clearly in a monologue says how his thought process of dealing with the Dani people and how he's whittling down their numbers so that the Empire can still gain the upper hand. He's not a good dude. But I still feel bad for him when his wife and his son, who have done absolutely nothing wrong, are being held.
You feel bad for his wife and son. Feel bad for his wife and son.
Yeah, and it's just, they're just clearly being used as leverage, which is believable and would be used in a conflict like that. And when those rebels had that gun pointed at that kid's head, I believe that if it came down to it, they would pull that trigger. And I don't know, like the tension and everything. You've got the Imperial officer who they kind of get in a bit of a Mexican standoff where they're holding blasters at each other. And he's like, just let the kid go. And I'm kind of on his side, like, yeah, let the kid go. What the fuck?
Oh, no. Totally.
And the fact that it's making me question these things and see both sides of it, you could argue that it's too postmodern for its own good. And we don't need to side with the moment we try and sympathize with the Empire is where the whole story kind of crumbles. But we're just living in that age now where, there has to be moral grey things and everything like that. So I appreciate the original Star Wars for it being exceptionally black and white when it comes to good versus evil. It works even for that, the traditional storytelling.
Even to the point of, like, retconning the stormtrooper, like, all of the bad guys' soldiers to just be kind of mindless clones, to then be later re-retconned to not be mindless clones.
Yeah. Even just like things like the TIE fighter pilots at the end of this episode where they're not going to make it home that night. And I was thinking about, like, maybe these pilots have families and stuff. They're just literally doing a job. These people have just gate crashed this place, shot up a bunch of their brothers in arms, and they want recompense for that. And I've never thought of that for a TIE fighter before, a TIE fighter pilot. And I did in this. So it's going places. It's doing things. As I keep saying, it's not the most entertaining series, but there's a lot of good sort of nuance to it and a lot of subtlety in the writing. And I like how they're showing the seeds of this rebellion. I could see the original idea for this being the 5 seasons that they wanted to do, like each season leading up to Rogue One. And I'm actually kind of, maybe it's for the best. I'm going to have to see what season 2's like. I really hope that it doesn't breeze through it too quickly if it's going to be time skipping every other episode. But I actually quite like how much of a slow burn this is and would like to see this slow burn over multiple seasons. But yeah.
Something just occurred to me.
Go on.
So this thought process started with they lost about 80 million Imperial credits and two TIE fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not counting any of the humans because that's actually more of a net gain. They don't have to pay people. Oh,
Yeah.
they might have to pay the families. How much do you think a TIE fighter is worth to like produce? Assuming that a credit is $1.
Well, I mean, they just come off assembly lines, don't they? At this point, it seems like the Empire has just, well, and especially if we're bringing Episode 9 into this, which I really don't want to. I don't even want to acknowledge that film's existence, and even to that extent as well, the First Order, they just have seemingly endless resources. So I don't know. I don't think the Empire's shy of cash. I think if they need more TIE fighters, they can. But because this is so, because this is
First
so,
Order has a Final Order, definitely. First Order, they have like the resources of a small empire, but I wouldn't say they have.
They built Starkiller Base. They hollowed out an actual planet.
No, they finished Starkiller Base. We already know the Empire started that thanks to Fallen Order.
Okay. But apparently just carried on working on a Death Star and not put all the resources. It makes no sense. Anyway, this is why I choose to forget the sequel trilogy is even a thing, because it just complicates everything. But if we're bringing real world stuff into this, all I can think about is Top Gun and how they say that's expensive military equipment and you better bring that fucking plane back in one piece.
Exactly. Well, so about it occurred to me, like, it's so Empire that they that TIE fighters don't have hyperdrives because they get destroyed all the time. They're referred to as suicide machines by the rebels because they thought they didn't have ejector seats, and then a character dies and then walks into scene in a few chapters and is like, turns out they do have ejector seats. Fuck you, Aftermath Book 1. Book 2 and 3 are awesome.
You know what? Fair play to these TIE fighter pilots. Like, they flew into the eye. Well, no pun intended with the name. They flew into the eye of the storm in this thing. They were fearless. So, fair play.
Leave it to it just occurred to me, like, coaxium's fucking expensive because Solo, and so the Empire is saving a lot of money by not having their fighters be able to jump to light speed, whereas the Rebellion needs to pay for coaxium. Also, where did they get that much coaxium on Exegol?
Well, didn't Palpatine have? I mean, I haven't read the comics, and they're not canon anyway.
He probably brought like resources from the Empire before all this shit.
Didn't he have like a giant red energy crystal that was like
Kyber? It wasn't coaxium. It was Kyber. It was for the Death Star lasers.
Can you get energy from that? Fuck it, I don't know.
He can. I don't think a Star Destroyer can.
The Emperor had a giant kaiju battle with Vader. Like, anything can happen.
No, that's commonly misinterpreted. Vader was riding a big kaiju to fight the Emperor, and the Emperor's like, "Yeah, no, I'm gonna dominate that thing's mind." And Vader was like, "No, I'm gonna
kaiju battle."
No, they had a battle of wills over a kaiju.
Yes, which is it's still a kaiju battle. Which actually reminds me that there was a Godzilla episode in the Clone Wars, wasn't there?
Oh yeah. I honestly, what an interesting twist that would have been if instead, because like they never explain what happens. So that they're like, the end of that story arc is Palpatine wants to clone the Zillo Beast. That's what it's called. Never comes up again.
Yeah.
What if every single Star Destroyer just had a cloned Zillo Beast on it?
Don't give them ideas for Star Wars Episode 10, 11, and 12.
It would be pretty cool.
Palpatine survives because he wasn't killed by Rey. And he flees to another Sith homeworld where he's been cloning Zillo beasts to unleash upon the world.
No, he possesses a cloned Zillo beast.
Oh, no.
They seem to be force sensitive.
Oh no. Oh no. Anyway, let's get back to the episode. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to go back to the scene that you talked about with the whole shooting scene at the end. That did actually catch me off guard. I've got to give the episode credit for that.
See, I told you Skeen was scum. I didn't write scum in my notes.
I mean,
I
wouldn't
told
you
you.
be on his side? He's just like, a
Me
hired gun
personally?
again.
Oh, me personally, absolutely. No. I would. Here's the thing. I would yes, but I would like shoot him on the ship when we were away.
Because
He'd be
all
like,
of
okay,
them
where
have
are we?
false
Where are you taking me?
identities.
Right.
All of them have, created a backstory for themselves, or just chose to keep mum on the subject. Yeah, so what makes him any different? He came up with a backstory just to protect his identity. Now it's all said and done, he's thinking of himself. And I'm like, yeah, sounds like a good plan. The question is, though, of course, would he have then killed Cassian? And just taken...
absolutely. Oh,
yeah.
100%. Yeah, no. He's like, I need you, and that 40 million's enough to make me forget you. Yeah, but that other 40 million's enough to make me fucking remember you just fucking immediately. Like, gee, seriously? Who would ever take a deal like that?
Yeah. And then just Cassian just likes pot-shotting people, doesn't he? He's just...
Yeah, no, I like that they're like we know where his story is ending, so I like that we're kind of like seeing that's where he's going.
Do we need a body count for Cassian at this point? So he's got the two guards, the two security.
Do you count
officers.
the first one?
It's manslaughter. I'd count it. I'd count it.
You would count manslaughter as
it's a body.
It's fair enough. That could seriously be taken out of context.
Let's see. Oh, the kid that gets crushed by the deposit.
Yeah, that's his. That was so dumb.
That was so rough. I was like, oh.
First note I have is, oh, this rebel kid is dead. And then like, hang on, one.
Now he's going to be in Yoda's hover chair.
Fifth to last note was, didn't think this kid's death would be that stupid. Also, again, how is this thing an eye?
Yeah, we were kind of hypothesizing. I mean, it's the I, it's capital I. I was thinking, because he talks about hang on,
it's EYE.
I've got the quote right here. Apparently, I can't remember which episode it's from, but Luthen says to put a real stick in the eye of the Empire and get paid for it. Well, they got paid for it in this episode, and I guess they put a stick in the actual. This was the eye, with which was this Imperial place.
I really feel like you're stretching with this one.
No, I am, but I'm. That's the only possible connection I can think of to eye. They said that the that's not the name of like the meteor shower thing, is it? Did they give a name to that?
Oh, so is there like an eye in the meteor shower? I thought the meteor shower was the eye.
I don't know. I can't. I think they gave it a name, didn't they? Like the special ceremony, but I couldn't remember if they call it the eye or if they called it something else.
It was 2 episodes ago. Which for you was 2 weeks ago, but for me it was like a week and a day ago. But I also watched like 4 episodes also, so like fuck off.
I don't know. I think my eye theory of the title of this episode holds. I think it works. Yeah. But yeah, that kid just gets fucking crushed, and then he directs him out of the storm. Just in terms of effects and visuals, looks absolutely gorgeous. Looks absolutely outstanding. Looks good enough to be in a film, as far as I'm concerned. The whole ending of this. It was cool seeing the TIE fighter pilots get suited and booted, and jump into the cockpits and everything, and then head off. That's the member berries probably, but it was cool.
Why didn't the 2 chicks kiss?
Yeah. Well,
what the hell? After the end of episode 9, we know they're not afraid to do it. Well, but they seem to be afraid to put it at the forefront.
I don't think they always need to have like their tongues down each other's throats. Just like
no.
They're gay. Get it?
No. But the thing is, like, she puts her hand on her hand. This is the first time. This is the confirmation. This is the definitive confirmation. That's who he was talking about last episode.
Has the Asian chick like had more than 2 sentences in this whole series?
She Asian? I thought she was Indian. I wrote
Indian. Well, it's still Asian. There's different degrees.
I mean, fair enough. But no, I don't think she's had that many lines.
So yeah, so that's what I mean. Like some of the characters get like a one sentence explanation. Like the young kid gets a little bit more to do. Probably he's had more scenes. Skeen had more scenes. You've got, is it Val? Is that a name? The main sort of blonde chick?
It's Sintra something.
Oh yeah, whatever it is.
Cincta. I don't know.
Sphincter.
I know Skeen.
Skeet.
Skeen died.
He did. But yeah,
Like
this Indian chick, I couldn't tell you anything about her character. I just that
she's
yeah,
a lesbian.
She's lesbian. That's a defining trait, apparently. Currently,
actually, no, she might be into other things as well, but we have nothing to base that off of.
We know that she's already shared a blanket with
Is that how they described it?
Yeah,
I have it in my old notes.
Yeah, it was in the last episode. Wasn't
sharing the sheets with someone.
Yeah, I'm going to start using that in conversation now.
Please don't. Yeah,
that... Oh, we the AK-47s actually do shoot blaster bolts in this one, which is nice to get that confirmation.
I never even occurred to me that those were like not blasters. Like I saw people talking about this. Have you seen the
pictures?
Like, fuck off, guys.
It doesn't even look like they've remotely gone out of their way to sci-fi these weapons. They just look straight off like the gun rack. Which is what I mentioned when I said, like, oh, it could be like Mockingjay or something. It could be like Hunger Games or something. It's just real world weapons.
Why do you use that reference?
I don't know why that was the first thing that came to my mind. There's so many in jokes right now. Like no one's gonna know what the fuck we're talking about.
Good.
But I think that was. Oh, how did J-Hold die again? The fat
J-Hold. That was the name. Okay, so actually I have a note of this. So they talked about him needing the breastplate enhancer or stretcher.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like that was your only indication that he dies of a heart attack.
Did it? So yeah, I was going to say that. So I looked away from the screen and I looked back, and he was just kind of like holding his arm, and he died.
Yeah, no. So he's been pushing like all these credits. He looks really exasperated, and then he looks confused, probably lightheaded, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like falls over, clutching his arm. I was like, oh yeah, okay. And it was like, is that Star Wars' first heart attack? If so, would anything in Star Wars have helped him?
Can we count Padme as dying of a broken heart?
No.
First heart attack. Huh. I don't know. I'd have to give that some thought. Maybe there is another one. But yeah, no, I
was going to die, by the way. But I guess him being in danger was enough foreshadowing.
But yeah, no, I looked away from the screen and I looked back, and he was dying and he was holding his arm. I was like, did he just get shot with a blaster and I just didn't see it? Or,
I give Pixel Joker some time.
Yeah. Let's see what else. We have Imperial Guards pissing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do.
As I say, just guys just working the job, just doing what they do.
Yeah. No. Question. By the way, I should have mentioned this earlier, because when I said that I had her written as Indian, I should have just read the note that she's in. How is she going to get off the planet now?
I wondered that too. Yeah.
Like, she's still there. Like, clearly that's going to be a thing, because she's the only surviving person other than Cassian and...
Well, I don't see the Darnies really contributing much. Like, is she going to be like ingratiate herself into this tribe of these natives and kind of lead?
Please no.
Yeah, she's kind of grounded now, isn't she? Do you think the Imperials are going to capture her and question her? Maybe.
I think she'd have an easy enough time slipping away if that's if we don't see her again until she's captured, that's lazy. In my opinion, because it would be so easy for her to get away right now.
I liked the Mission Impossible style scene where
there's a whole rest of the planet to consider.
Yeah, I like the scene where her and her other half do that Mission Impossible rappel thing where they run down the whatever you call it. That was cool. Yeah,
I thought her putting on an Imperial uniform was going to have more significance.
Mm. Well, I mean, there's not really any significance with the character at the moment, is there? It's the thing that's
you got me there.
frustrating is that it feels like I know the story's got to move on to other places and we've got to get away from that, but a lot of the initial characters they set up from the beginning, specifically with Cassian's past, has just kind of been fallen to the wayside. And I don't want it to get to the end of the series and we haven't finished that off, because I think there's a lot of ground there that they need to cover. And I don't think they've done that yet. So hopefully we do get some of those other characters coming back. We don't have the title for any of the other episodes coming out. So, yeah, I guess we just find out on the day, don't we? Next week looks like, just based on the director and the writer, it looks like it's going to be a standalone.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to be about them taking the kid to a doctor. I thought that the episode was about to end. And I was like, oh, no, that's just 2 scenes.
Yeah.
She wanted to leave him to take him to, instead of take him to this doctor. It would be too far out of the way. 2 scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just wanted to throw out there, during the heist, remember when they kept cutting to the Pilgrim song?
Yes. Yeah.
They did that one too many times, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was like, this is getting to be too much. I wrote, this Pilgrim song is getting to be too much. And then it ended. And I was like, okay, this Pilgrim song is one too many.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was no real significance why it had to keep cutting back to that, really.
We're supposed to feel something because of the contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
One
last thing.
Yeah, sure. If you got anything else,
specifically pertaining to the last scene, Stellan Skarsgård, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can see people complain that there's no word about if the attack was successful or not, but he just goes in the back and starts celebrating.
Yeah, so when that first started, I thought completely the opposite. I thought that someone knew what he was up to and was calling him out on it. And was
me too. Yeah, no, that's how I thought the scene was starting.
Yeah,
and then I think that's what we were supposed to think. It's just because he reminded me of Mon Mothma's aide.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if he was, I called it.
Yeah,
it's here. Yeah. But no, if with my mom, fuck. Ow. Specifically pertaining to that scene, I like that. Like I said, I can see people complaining that he celebrates without actually knowing it's confirmation. I like what that says about the rebellion or rebellions at this point. It's like any news at all means it was probably successful, or at least you might not have gotten paid, but you poked a stick in their eye.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that whole relic chamber he's got, the antique store. I've seen a bunch of articles on Facebook and everything, just kind of pausing and breaking down that scene.
Armor.
There are so many things in the background. They've got the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom Shankara stones on that shelf as well.
I don't slightly care about that. That fucking armor is teasing me.
Oh, I know. No, that's cool too. But the stones from Indiana Jones are here. So now I'm thinking, right, okay.
Yeah, and
so
the idol from the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark is in Solo.
So I'm thinking, okay, this is a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. So now I'm thinking, well, how did that get there then in continuity? I genuinely want to know.
Honestly, you might want to ask, what are these magic stones in Indiana Jones? Maybe they came from outer space.
Maybe it was the interdimensional beings from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull transported
kind of just thinking
galaxy.
That and the idol.
Yeah, we've already sussed it. That portal that sucked in Ray Winston, that sounded filthy. But yeah, maybe it's got something to do with that. I don't know. Anyway, final thoughts on this episode, where we think it's going to be heading into the next one. Any speculation?
I had another small, minor detail. Do you think the Doctor has a common ancestor with Maz Kanata?
From that one episode where he's the little Yoda guy?
What? No, the Doctor in this episode.
Oh, I thought you meant Doctor Who. The Doctor.
No.
Okay, well, do you
The
remember? Okay,
doctor in this episode that we're the live stream that we're on
yeah,
right
yeah.
now? Yeah, for the episode of the show that we're reviewing. Yeah,
Okay,
that
well,
doctor.
when you say the Doctor, I just immediately think Doctor Who. I apologize.
That's your problem.
Speaking of which, I'm going to finish my thought on this now, so I don't look like a complete asshole.
Oh,
The Master, when he's first introduced in David Tennant's series, do you remember it?
I didn't watch Doctor Who.
You didn't watch Doctor Who?
You
There's a
sound so
point where
broken.
there's a point where the Doctor gets like super fucking old, like 900 years or like 1,000 years or something, and he turns into like this little small Yoda / Maz Kanata looking motherfucker.
I mean, what is Maz Kanata but Yoda meets
I'm
Dexter?
going to find a picture of this because I'm not letting this go.
Oh God.
Hang on, Doctor Who old. Yeah. Oh, he looks like Dobby the house elf. Hang on.
Jesus Christ.
That was a thing.
Okay. I don't know why you thought I would just mention that.
I
Start
don't know why
talking
that
about
popped
that
into my
during
mind.
this review. But no, I wasn't talking about that. I was.
I
Talking
haven't
about
seen
the
that in
doctor
over 10 years.
in the episode of Andor that we are currently reviewing. That doctor, the one with the 4 arms.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, he looks like the motherfucker from Men in Black 2. He was like sorting the mail in the mail room.
You know, I was just thinking about if he had Maz Kanata's head.
Yeah, it was bizarre, and I was like, we haven't seen this alien before. In terms of like 4-arm things, I'm thinking like Dexter Jetster.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't seen this.
I mean, Maz Kanata is essentially Yoda plus Dexter Jetster.
Yeah, this thing was weird. I know they've got to have aliens in there, but I wasn't keen on the design. I must admit, it was just downright bizarre. I completely forgot that was a thing, and I'm very surprised. It would have been
really cool if he was just a Maz Kanata alien like her, just like, there's another one.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, bringing it back. Yeah, it's just.
It would make sense for one to be a doctor because they live so long. It's just like, yeah, you'd probably be a really fucking good doctor.
They just do it because he's got multiple arms, and you know he can multitask. I guess is that
he
is
can
that
be
why?
His own. Yeah, like I could see one of them being a chef and also their own sous chef.
Well, thank God it wasn't one of the mods from Book of Boba Fett. You know, so be thankful for small mercies, I guess.
Yeah.
The only other note I have is the soundtrack was a lot more noticeable to me in this episode. Really reminded me of Hans Zimmer's Time from Inception. You got like the kind of the cadence of it, the pace, even maybe not 1917, maybe Dunkirk as well, with like it had like a ticking quality to it, maybe for like the urgency of getting it done in a timely fashion and getting out of there. Sounded a lot like Hans Zimmer. Even like the chord, where the chords move, the harmony of it sounded a lot like Time to me. It played over the ending credits as well, but that's just a small note anyway. My final thoughts on this episode. I think it's a really strong episode. It seems like the way of this show is going to be, you're going to get kind of 2 very slow burn episodes. I'm not going to say boring because there's stuff in there that I find interesting, and I mean I'm tuning in each week, so it's doing something right. I haven't jumped ship just yet.
I think the word you're thinking of is build up.
Yeah, and it's going to get a payoff in episode 3. Now, as I mentioned, next week, I get the impression it's going to be a standalone. So it's going to be directed by Susanna White and written by Dan Gilroy. So
what about the rest of the season?
Wait, no, sorry, that was today's one. Next week, directed by Benjamin Caron and written by Stephen Schiff. Now, Stephen Schiff, I don't think... No, so he isn't going to write any more episodes for this series. Benjamin Caron's going to be directing the final 2 episodes of the series. So this tells me that it's going to be something big. If he's the director who's doing the last 2 episodes, which is going to be the finale, and next week is kind of like a standalone one directed by him, I think next week's going to be a pretty big episode. I think a lot's going to go down next week.
I can see... I see what you're saying.
In terms of plot, I don't think it's going to be in terms of spectacle because they they shot their bolt with this one at the end of this. So it's going to be a lot of integral, moving the plot forward, dramatic character stuff next episode, I think. Well, I hope. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the way I see it is next episode is either going to be really important or really mundane.
Yeah, it's going to be the filler episode.
It's either going to be the first episode with Bill Burr or the last episode with Bill Burr.
It's actually going to be a Mandalorian episode.
End the stream. I don't want to look at you.
Okay. I'm just trying to think in the timeline where would Mando be now? Is he being raised by the Mandos at the moment, or because there was the whole super battle droid thing?
Yeah, so the super battle droid thing would at the latest be like 19 years before A New Hope, which would be about 30. No, yeah, wait. It's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, which is a year, 3 years. So 23 plus 5 so 28 years. So Mando's got to. Yeah, if Mando's going to be, how old would you think Mando is?
Well, how old is Pedro Pascal?
Fair enough.
That's fine. He's got to be in his 40s, right? Pedro Pascal's 47. So yeah, he's going to be in his prime, surely.
So assuming he is 47, which I don't, he probably isn't,
right?
Actually, wait, no, wait. So 23 years, so 23 plus 5, so 28 years, is the most amount of time, is the least amount of time that could be since the flashback of him being saved by Death Watch. It's actually probably significantly more. It's probably more than that because of the whole Darth Maul thing.
It's possible. It's possible. That's what I'm saying. It's not out of the realms of possibility in this franchise that they could bring Mandalorian into it if they wanted to. Not that they should. Anyway, that'll do it for the review. I need to be up in 6 hours, so I'm going to have to anyway. But thank you to everyone that has tuned in or graced us with your presence for a mere few seconds. I do appreciate it. Do consider subscribing. No, probably
I checked.
Please do consider subscribing to the channel for more movie reviews, discussions, and live streams. I think that's a thing, though. Honestly, with Andor, like across the board, I don't think many people are talking about the series.
Who gives a shit?
I do. I care.
I care. Or as Ray would put it, I care.
I wanted to take your hand. Ben's hand.
I thought that was actually a good line.
Yeah, it was. I like that line.
It's like kind of like a slap in the face.
And give me a follow on Twitter as well, at Hobbit Fan Editor. I post the times that I'm going live. I post other things.
We'll get it. We'll work it out before the stream next. We got it week. I'm here.
Like the Imperial Star Destroyer at the start of the movie, like my arm is just going to be like coming off screen, never ending. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. Yes, give me a follow on Twitter, and in the meantime, if you're discovering this after the fact, let me know your thoughts on Andor. What did you think of the Eye? How do you think it's shaping up? Hopes and dreams for the future of this series. Well, we know where it's going to end up in Rogue One anyway, but hopefully there should be some other interesting things in the series before it's all said and done. What else can you expect? Well, let's talk about our review for Andor Episode 7. So, JX has left. It's very nice of him. I'm sure he'll be back in a second. So, Andor Episode 7 review, that is going to be next Thursday, the 20th of October at 11 p.m. British Standard Time. Here he is.
It was suddenly just like page not responding, and I hit refresh, and I'm here now. Hello.
It's like he did what he was here to do. He fulfilled his mission, and he's like, "Fuck you, Chris, I'm out." But yes, so next week's episode, I am away Wednesday night. I will be at the cinema watching a 35 anniversary rescreening of The Lost Boys and Loving Life.
I'll be here.
So I could give you the login. JX could do it, or we could do it the day after. So it's going to be Thursday, the 20th of October at 11 p.m. British Standard Time. I really hope you're free Thursday night, because if you're not, then I'll be
I don't work
doing this one solo.
Thursdays. Well, I don't work every other Thursday for the most part.
Perfect.
But this Thursday I'm not working. Hello.
Wait, this Thursday you're not working, as in today?
It's Thursday. No, sorry. Wait.
It's Thursday for me as of 2 minutes ago.
Right. No. Sorry. Next Thursday. You know
You're
what
good.
I mean. The Thursday
You're free
we are currently talking about.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. That's fine. We can work with that.
Also, I work today. It doesn't actually matter.
Cool. We got it sorted together. See, we get things done. I will next be back on Friday for the exciting conclusion to the Rings of Power. That's going to be episode 8. I'm going to be here Friday the 14th of October, 11 p.m. British Standard Time. Hopefully, fingers crossed, joined with Everything in Middle-earth again, because that was a great discussion last time. We really had a laugh with it. If we don't laugh, we'll just cry. So there has been enjoyment to be found in the Rings of Power by tearing it down to the foundation. So, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of things to do for the finale as well. Because
as somebody not watching the show, I'm really looking forward to it being over, because I'm surrounded by people who are watching it, and it's just like, hey, what if when this is over, when like we watch Chris the Hobbit fan edit in this whole big party thing that we're doing. It's such a new experience that you should definitely go watch that.
You should, and I was going to take people to a link to it, but the link isn't actually in my description. So yeah, if you're a Hobbit fan, go and watch it.
Or if you're not, actually, you might still want to take a look.
I might do a third version on it,
movies.
But for now, that's the one. That's the director's cut version that's out at the moment. So
really
go check it out.
It's fine. Don't do another one. Seriously, you've given it so much time.
I've given it 8 years of my time. It's done. Put it to bed. So Rings of Power this week, and I do have planned a James Cameron retrospective, which I did have scheduled for this Sunday. However, something may have come up this Sunday. If that's the case, then I might have to park it to another time. But essentially, coming up for my next retrospective is going to be the James Cameron retrospective. In the lead up to Avatar 2 this Christmas, I'm going to be reviewing every single thing that James Cameron has directed, from his short film Xenogenesis, from his first film Piranha 2 The Spawning, all the way up until Avatar 2 The Way of Water. So it's going to be fun to talk about. There's a lot of films on there that I haven't actually seen yet. I haven't seen any of his documentary content that he's made. I've never seen Piranha 2. Hell, I've never seen The Abyss, and that's been on my to-watch list for a long, long time. But alongside that, we've got the likes of Terminator, Terminator 2, Aliens, among some of my favorite films of all time on there. So that's definitely going to be fun to talk about. Tentatively beginning this Sunday. If something comes up, then I'm going to have to park it to another day. But as I said, follow me on Twitter for more information on that, and I will keep you guys in the loop. Finally, a big thank you to JX for jumping on with me tonight. Just to round off, if you want to remind people of where they can find your stuff.
Like I said at the start of the show, it's this way. Oh yeah, I did it. I figured it out. I got it right the first time.
Do it again. Do it again right now. God damn it. Kind of. We're getting there. Yeah, go on.
Anyway, YouTube.com/JXEditor. If you're on Discord and interested in fan edits, figure out how to get onto Movies Remastered's Discord, and I'll be there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking time out of your evening, mate, to talk about it. Always a pleasure talking Star Wars with you.
Wait. I'm not on Movies Remastered Discord. That's definitely not JXEditor, according to their handle, and that's not me. I'm not doing that.
You are legion. You have people. You have top members.
Okay, it might be me.
But thank you for jumping on with me. As I say, it's always a pleasure talking Star Wars with you, even when we're arguing about it, which is quite a lot of the time. But not when we're talking Andor. We're on the same page with Andor at the moment.
I think we're on the same page with Boba Fett.
Well, I think you enjoyed Boba Fett a lot more than I did.
I thought it was dumb fun.
I just thought it was dumb. I was hating life. Apart from the Mandalorian episodes, which I actually really enjoyed.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we'll park it here for tonight, and as I said, we'll be back next Thursday. So one day later, not Wednesday next week, guys. Thursday next week for episode 7. Take care, everyone.